Hello, everyone. Let me go ahead and make everyone participants. We're just going to have Q&A again. In the video, which we are recording, just turn off your mic and turn off your camera and you won't be in it. You can feel free to just lurk, but you can also hop in and ask questions if you want to. All right. So we'll skip all the boilerplate today. Looks like it's just the four of us, so we can talk about whatever the heck we want to. So I'd like to start with Clint, find out what's going on with SEO this week.
Oh, we did the someone's got feedback.
Oh, it could be me.
Yep, it's gone now. It's all Kyle's fault. I can't dog on him too much. I was fighting with my stuff too. Anyway, I did the first audit. That actually went pretty well. Thanks to Adrian Diaz, I actually got some nice show graphics going on there now. So he kind of pointed me in the right direction to where he learned to do his stuff, and I just shamelessly stole it. So that looks a little bit more professional now, and I just got to work out a little bit on what I want to do as part of an audit, because it can be technical and boring. Us as SEOs kind of get it, but it's I don't know. It seems like it might wear old on people after some point, so we'll see how that works.
I think you should do different parts of an audit. Like, I know when I do an audit for a business, like, it's a 25-hour analysis. You know, and so I can't imagine trying to do a full proper audit in an hour.
Yeah,
so
not
you
good.
must be going light speed over things.
Yeah. What I did is I created individual slides. So here's some on-page stuff we'll look at. Here's some off-page stuff, in general, and just kind of talk about, and then glazed over how I would look at those aspects in tools.
It'd also be cool if you had audit guests who specialize in certain aspects of, like, technical audits or CRO audits, and get all those auditing spins.
What I'm finding is a lot of people don't want to be associated with the big bad black hat guy.
Well,
so it's a little bit harder to, I can get guests on, I can get like the Terrys and that kind of stuff, those people on, but you're always in the same crowd, and you just get tired of hearing from the same people over and over and over again. You know what I mean? So, and then when I reached out, in particular, like SEO rock stars, we're populating our speakers list for that, and I tried to get Ray, I tried to get Marie Haynes, I tried to get. I'm going to screw her name up, is Adalia Solis. Try to get those people in. It's just, they're, I think, so embedded in the internet marketing crowd that the white hat crowd is afraid to come in. And then I think that's kind of, and those are really the people that I think we should hear from more, because we hear from ourselves so much. You know what I mean? So that's one of the dramas of trying to find the guest. And then too, on top of that, now that I had the news thing, I know how Adrian's kind of running his, and he's got Zoom and all that, and you've seen before from past experience with past shows that we've done together, is Zoom and then pushing out and all that stuff. My bandwidth is not really capable of handling that very well, so we have to I got to figure out how to do that whole guest thing, because I'd like to have you back, and I'd like to have Kyle every once in a while. We can scrape him out from the dungeons.
Yeah, I'd love to be on your show. Anytime you want me on the show, I'm there. But yeah, it's really tricky to get people to sacrifice their websites to the public. And so I think you'll probably have to go down the route of just, picking a bad website in some random niche and just doing an anonymous audit.
And Clint, you're muted, but I'd like to see you do an audit for the client or proposed client say, when we're looking at your website here, so that I see, oh, this is how Clint does an audit for for a potential customer. And then you can use that as lead gen, and we get to see how you would do an audit for a customer, and maybe learn something about the way we do it.
Well, that's the format that I'm doing it. However, this week I kind of caveat that is really not scalable. You know, if you're doing it right and you're going through all the tools and all that other stuff, you're looking at 2 hours to create an audit for a client, a potential client, and then the videos alone are like 25 to 30 minutes on average. So video audits, while cool and that sound exciting and you're presenting this great amount of information, is not scalable at all unless you get like 2 people that just do nothing but sit there and crank those things out. However, I do show you how I actually find people to reach out to.
What if you did the full video audit offline and then you broke it up into like 6 episodes and you kind of filmed it like it was This Old House, where today you're renovating the bathroom, tomorrow you're putting in new cabinets?
That would actually work. Yeah, people would get a lot of use out of that. I think that would be real helpful. That would be something to consider for sure. Like I said in the first one, though, I'm using it. I'm doing the audit, and I'm picking people that I would legit reach out to you, and then I'm using the video as here's my expertise, right? And then I'm ranking or trying to rank the videos for those business names at the same time.
Yeah,
and then the people that I'm selecting, like I picked lawyers, and we all know how lawyers are and their stupid big egos and their big heads. I'm looking at Kyle. When you rank that and you talk about people, and maybe they'll see each other when I start ranking a whole bunch of those videos. So we'll see how it works out. I'm not sure if it'll work, but
well, another possible pro for doing the behind the scenes full audit and doing the This Old House approach is that one audit becomes 6 episodes. So it's probably the best use of your time if you wanted to save time on production.
Quick mic check. Does my mic sound okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
It turns out you have to plug them in to get them to work. Little known fact. I don't want to hear Ted Kabitas talk about maximizing time on videos. I think that is not a position of authority.
I was thinking that, but he was offering me advice. I don't want to be rude.
maybe this is learn from my mistakes episode. I'm not sure.
I'm an expert, people. So, Lauren, off the top of your head, what's coming up in the community?
Yeah, so let's see. We have our testing mastermind on Thursday. And then one thing I'm really excited about is Schema app is going to do some advanced tutorials for us. So I'm not exactly sure when that's going to be recorded, but we're thinking we'll do it in the next week or so. And then we're continuing our Marty Marion competitive advantage for SEOs course. And then, of course, next week we have an AMA, and I think it's going to be with Kyle Roof now on Tuesday.
Nice.
There, that'll be me.
Yeah, I had difficulties this week. I had a sick dog and had to rush him to the vet. So my apology to the people who were at my AMA this week. It was a fail because of that. But Terry was there, and he had a question that he wanted answered. So Terry, what's your question?
I wanted to get some opinions on the outlook for Black Friday this year, given the economy, the shutdown of a lot of big boxes, as far as you can't have people cram in it suddenly when you open the doors. And of course, everybody's been shopping online since March. So I was just wondering what kind of outlook people expect with Black Friday this year?
Well, the way I see it is there is sale fatigue right now because ever since COVID struck, it's been nonstop Black Friday for people trying to keep their businesses alive. So you can't go into this Black Friday thinking the same old Black Friday tricks are going to cut it. You're going to need to get very creative. You're going to have to push the limits. You're going to want to start early and you're going to want to run them late. And you're going to want to think if you have, a large position and certain inventory, you're going to have to plan out your fire sales for right after Black Friday, 1-2 punch them. It's going to be a tricky year, and you're going to have to outcompete everybody else who needs a big number come Q4, and that's going to be everybody. So, I think you really need to plan out your strategy, and it can't be the same playbook as last year. What do you think, Kyle?
I think one of the biggest things is that Black Friday is going to come in October. People are going to be running Black Friday sales, and they're going to start advertising it soon. Like get Black Friday on October 20th or whatever. So it'll be called a Black Friday sale, and it will be that type of a sale, but it's going to happen way early. And people are going to be rushing to market to get that Black Friday labeling out on whatever offer they need to give, and I bet it's going to happen this month. So if you're in a position where Black Friday is something that you need to do, like something that is part of your sales model, and I think it's probably pretty much everybody at this point, get it done as early as you can. And I would just launch it now. As Ted was saying, do it early, do it often, do it through the end. Have different launches. I would have multiple, but I would start my Black Friday as soon as I possibly could.
What do you think, Clint?
I think Amazon Prime Day is the 13th and 14th of October. So like Kyle said, after that, people are going to see how Amazon does. And I think Kyle's right. Everyone's going to start kicking off their sales right behind it, see what the spending trends are.
What do you think, Lauren?
Yeah, I'm already seeing CPMs rising 20, 30%. And one thing that's really interesting that I'm seeing is like our competitors, a lot of them, if they get product from overseas, they can't even deliver for the holidays, or they're already saying, get it now, order now, get it by Christmas. And that changes the game in another way that is like really weird.
Yeah. With the post office kind of in a sorry state right now, that's going to affect a lot of last mile delivery, which means those shipping cutoff dates are really going to be, blind gambles. So if you're buying gifts, you definitely want to buy them early so that you get them in time. If you wait till the last minute, you might be handing out Christmas gifts for New Year's.
Yeah. What do you think people should do SEO-wise right now? Like just in a pure SEO play, is there anything worth launching at this moment? Would it be bolstering something else? How would you approach it with your experience, Ted, in the e-com space?
Well, I'd start off with being transparent about the promotional calendar. So I would want people to know about my big promos well in advance before they come out. So, I would probably want to hype the promo, then launch the promo. And normally that's not what happened. People will typically stealth their promos until the day they launch. But you want to let people know about the good deals that they want to save their money for. Otherwise, they won't save their money for them.
That leads to my next question. Do people have less money this year? I don't think we've been hit by a recession yet, but that's definitely coming. Do you think people would save money right now knowing that it's coming in 6 months or so, kind of a thing like that could happen with the economy turning? Or do you think spend would stay where it's at right now?
I think people are hurting right now. I think people are hurting and they're worried. So they're not going to go out and have the biggest Christmas they've ever had on record. Now, that doesn't mean they're not going to buy gifts. It's just not going to be the biggest Christmas ever. You go back a couple of years, you have people going nuts, getting their entire kids' wish list. I don't think that's happening this year. I think you can expect the average cart to be down over past years, and that's going to have some big implications. And so, because of that, you're going to need to run your promos for longer. You're going to need to hype them more. You're going to have increased ad spend. That's going to cut into your margins. You're going to have to discount deeper. And yeah, it's going to be tricky. And for Q4, for like going into Christmas, one of the big deals is that ship and cutoff date, because every day you can keep that promo running for a large online retailer. That's another $5-10 million. So if you lose, a day of shipping at the end of your promotional season, that's a big loss of revenue. And so, with everything up in arms with last mile delivery, it's going to be tricky. And because Amazon has invested so much in their ability to deliver packages with their own infrastructure, they may be a bit more resilient to this than other online retailers. So, you might find that Amazon does great, but then, some other retailer falls flat just on delivery alone.
Would that make it worthwhile if you're in any kind of like product space to try to push more onto a platform that is a little more resilient or a little more less, susceptible to variance as your own website might be? So maybe take some margin loss, but push onto an Amazon?
I think a lot of mid and large size online retailers would be pretty smart to kind of go heavy with their fulfilled by Amazon segment. No, it's not the best margins, and you have to get product moved to special places to do that, but that might be a good way to maximize your shipping cutoff.
There's still time, to do that and to get that set up, at least maybe not for Black Friday, but for Christmas.
Oh yeah, you'd need to start right now. So you can't wait, because we're already in the end game here.
If I'm a mom and pop, man, maybe that's not an option. What should I do?
If you're starting from scratch and you don't sell on Amazon, you're kind of stuck with what you have at this point. It's probably going to take too long to onboard. But definitely keep track of your delivery times. Like, make a note to report on how long things take to reach people's doors. And make sure you understand that, and you understand how it changes as you draw close to your Christmas cutoff date. Because understanding that's going to tell you how long you can sell product and get it to people before Christmas. And that's really where most online retailers are going to need to make their revenue, is getting every last minute of sales out of that shipping cutoff. But that's selling $40 average carts. If you're a plumber, you don't care about any of this.
Well, that's a good question. Do service area people need to worry about what's going to happen through this holiday season? I don't know if are plumbers affected during holiday seasons to begin with?
No, they get better hourly rates. Sinks leak all the time, and when it happens on midnight at Christmas, you get your best money. I know from firsthand experience. So, yeah, I don't think business...
Were you a plumber, Ted?
No, I've had a sink leak under...
Are you moonlighting as a plumber right now? Tell us what's going on.
I wish I could make that money. Their hourly rate at midnight on Christmas makes my hourly rate look like a joke. So, yeah, no. When you get into services, emergencies happen all the time. They don't care about holidays or religions or anything. Emergencies happen.
Okay. Now, how about the SEO community? What can we do to make money?
Well, this is where you got to get creative. So you have these promotions and you are deep in certain parts of inventory that probably lose their value after Christmas. So, what should you be focusing your SEO efforts on in order to make your other initiatives successful? So I would get pages up about your upcoming promotions and I would SEO the heck out of them. I'd have a promotional calendar page somewhere on your website so that people can find out what's coming up in terms of great deals. I would make sure that those products that I'm deep in that I need turns for are SEO to the extreme. You know, I would definitely make sure that those things that I need to work to survive are set up right away. And the problem with SEO is oftentimes it takes, you know, 2 weeks, 4 weeks to get it into place. And, you know, we're already at a point where if it's not in place now, you're kind of running out of time. So if you're doing it today. You're not waiting. Uh, you know, you just have no more time. So you need to think about what's most important and prioritize. Make 1, 2, or 3 things on your list that you need to focus on that must work at all costs and focus on those things. What do you think, Clint?
I think of all this stuff on a perspective of an SEO who's trying to do affiliate. And I think it's good because you kind of position your advice based off of product owners, and I have this, you know, set of inventory and I want to sell it, blah, blah, blah. So from an affiliate perspective, I think it now is like your last minute time to actually start ranking. And you're going to have to do it quick, and you're going to have to do it with a whole lot of power because there are going to be those people that have tricks that can actually, you know, take over for that Black Friday week, for example, and jump on those affiliate sales. You got Prime Day now. It's too late for that, but the affiliate commissions that come out of Amazon for that. And, you know, just it's time to start thinking about the best of types of posts and all that stuff for Christmas to get that into position. Like I have a Halloween domain, I have a Christmas domain. I was way too busy at OTT during the spring for the Halloween domain, so now it's too late to do anything with that. And then the Christmas domain, I'm really going to be doing some best of posts before I can even think about doing legit, like here's this cool product kind of thing, you know, product review stuff for that domain. So from that perspective, it's, if you don't have a plan now and you're not implementing it now, you're kind of at a loss on the SEO side, and you might need to start looking at PPC for affiliate commission.
Halloween sales are down this year because nobody can go out trick or treating, can't go to Halloween parties and things like that. So don't feel bad. You know, you missed the gun on that one. So.
Yeah. I think it would have hurt a lot more if COVID had not been here. But, you know, thinking from that perspective, I probably would have been really upset if I put all that work to build that site up again and then there's no Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's an industry I feel for. Like, you know, if you're selling costumes and Halloween decorations, you know, I'd imagine that, you know, probably your best play is to have steep discounts this year to just turn the inventory and to pay the bills. And your marketing campaigns are about get it cheap this year because it'll be expensive next year when it's all back in business.
I think your only market are like bank robbers and fetish people at this point.
Yeah. Well, no, there's a category of shopper that'll get a good deal for next year and then just tuck the costume away in a bin. You know,
Pennywise COVID masks.
And decorations go well no matter the season because it's your home. And so I don't know that Halloween decorations are going to be down.
I was saying, Terry, do you typically Halloween decorate in April?
No, but in April, I'm not, but my girlfriend's having spring stuff out. Mother's Day. Some people put those flags out that they change every month for some stupid holiday that month kind of thing. But I mean, you can decorate for Halloween and Christmas, even if they can't spend a lot on Halloween costumes or maybe even Christmas gifts, but they still want to show the world that they're into whatever.
Yeah. My wife's that person,
So is my mom. Flag. It's Arbor Day, and I'm like, you can't. What? When was the last time you planted a tree? But she has a flag.
Well, and we still haven't seen the COVID aware Halloween products come out yet. The candy dish on a pole. So
I've seen pictures. I've seen pictures of that. This one dude made almost like a slide system that goes from his door to the front of his driveway or sidewalk, and that's where the bowl sits. And then the people come, and he just drops the candy down the slider thing, and it goes into the bowl, and they get their candy.
Yeah. So kind of all these holidays need a little bit of rethinking, and there'll be new merchandise to account for the good ideas. And so, a lot of that'll be for next year because it's way too late already for this year.
I would like to toss out the thing that I've just trademarked is decorative hand sanitizers outside of your door. So it's a hand sanitizer dispenser. Looks very classy. Everyone would want it in their $1 million home. And sits right there so that they can hand sanitize before they come into your home. Decorative, classy.
You know that'll never work in Arizona.
Actually, I think this is a pretty good idea.
It's a good idea, but in Arizona it wouldn't work because my cigar place puts their hand sanitizer outside. You're supposed to use it before you go in. It's you might as well just put some rubbing alcohol in your hands.
I had an idea before. Have you seen that ad that FedEx was running with the little robot guy, and he's like going up the sidewalk to the song "He Needs Me, He Needs Me, He Needs Me," and the idea is that this robot went to the pharmacy, got the medicine, and it arrives, and the mother is able to give medicine to her sick child, and the bot was able to go upstairs and do the whole thing. But actually, when I was watching that before, I was thinking, delivery is very easy with that concept from anything, from like groceries to the mundane, whatever you need to order. But if you're not home, how would they deliver? And I was thinking there's a box, where you could interface, and the idea is that the door opens, the stuff goes in and then closes, and it's in a contained and cooled space for whatever you need to deliver. What's crazy is in Thailand, they have these. Right now they're for trash though, and they sit outside there's like a little wall that's kind of with our house, but you put the trash in here and you close it, and then the trash guys come and get it from there. But it's the exact same concept. And I was thinking, that's the kind of thing that when you're looking at where things could go in terms of touchless and delivery at the same time in an environment, I would work maybe in a technology space or kind of brainstorm where I could go with something like that with those kind of touchless things. And I was thinking that you could just kind of expand that across anything that you're doing, anything that could become touchless or some sort of convenience in that concept. Whatever you're dealing with or whatever you're working with, maybe things you could brainstorm in those directions.
Yep. So let's see, where are we on time? We're at 30 minutes. So Kyle, I wanted to talk briefly about a couple of things that John Mueller has said in recent history.
My favorite person, go on.
Yeah, one of which, he's had like 3 or 4 of these things, and I'm just going to paraphrase. I'm not quoting literally, but in one he was like SEO contests are useless, and in another he said SEO testing doesn't work. It doesn't represent what's in the field, You know, and he's, you know, been saying stuff like that. And we've also heard from, like, you know, the white hat community, you know, that's anti-testing, anti-measurement. You know, they always come out with the correlation isn't causation, and, you know, I don't use data because my experience is so awesome. You know, those types of things. You know, does testing work, and why?
It clearly does not, and we are wasting all of our time. And I just want to end this all right now. No, it was pretty amazing. I saw, because I think you gleefully did a screenshot of the John Mueller. Those ranking competitions aren't anything. And when you sent that one, is that what the one you sent to me you were really happy about?
Well, there's a few, because I think we can refute these, you know, and is it worth it to refute them? Does it make any sense at all?
Well, then that's a two-part sort of thing. So thing one is that clearly it works, because we run tests all the time. Clint runs tests, you run tests, I run tests, SIA and IMG run tests. But then I'm also continuing to do the same things I was doing in 2015. I'm still able to get results, and then I'm still able to put those into the field. So they're not academic for the sake of academia, but actual things that are ranking factors, and implement them and go. When you get to the lorem ipsum stuff, where I did like rhinoplasty plano, and people, I mean, the hate mail that I got was excellent. And people said you couldn't do it again. As you guys know, who all saw my tour in 2019, I did the exact same thing again. You know, in each city that I spoke in on my multi-city tour, I ranked a page on page 1 in lorem ipsum, doing the exact same method. You know, those things don't change. The core part of what Google is doesn't change. And Ted, I think you most perfectly articulated it, is that it's not cost effective to change. It's too expensive. Like, I'm sure that Google has a quantum nano flux capacitor computer that is better than anything that's ever been, but it's not cost effective for them to run it. You know, it takes, you know, 4 nuclear power plants to run, I would imagine, and that just isn't worth it, and might produce slightly better results, but with the results they have are so good, it's not worth them to run that as a function of what they're doing. So the core of Google stays the same. It is all completely testable. Yeah, I mean, because we do so often from testing to the field, it's a hard argument at this point for anybody to make that none of this is valid or it doesn't work at all.
Well, I consider your rhinoplasty plano contest entry, and if you're unfamiliar with it, Kyle basically created a web page of Latin gibberish and did paint by numbers using the tools of our trade to figure out, you know, how many of what words to put in which zones of the page. And he managed to get to number 1 in Google with paint by numbers on page tuning. And you know, the thing about that is that, to me, feels like an SEO experiment. You know, it's not a single variable experiment. Obviously, you played in multiple variables, but it's a real experiment in the field. You know, does on page work in the field with a real keyword, with real competitors, that has a cost per click on it and real search volume? And you got to number 1 in Google, and you didn't do it just once. You know, you did it 5 or 6 times. And so when I see Google come out and say it has no bearing in the field,
That is the field.
For, you know, real keywords, isn't that bearing in the field?
Mm-hmm.
And would you consider rhinoplasty plano a test?
Do I consider it a test? Yeah, I mean, I think there are different forms of tests. There isn't one test that is the be all to end all, or one type. There's so many different types of way to run a particular test, but that must be a test. You know, it must be something that has been done. Really fun fact. So I've been studying the guidelines a lot in the last several months. What is in the guidelines, what is white hat, what is outside the guidelines. And in the automated generated content, there is this thing that says text that has no meaning to the readers but contains search terms is on the no-no list. And I was like, when did that come into play? So I put the URL, the Wayback Machine, and in 2018, which is where the test comes from that we're talking about, in February, that rule doesn't exist. In July, a week after my website was published showing what I had done, that rule came into play.
You got a Google rule, Kyle.
I got a Google rule. And then a few months later, when the douchewad Roger Monty decided to write an article about it as though he had found something, they then could punish me by the rule they had just written. In terms of this was major spam.
Well, that was convenient.
I know. It's pretty amazing because, text that your readers don't understand but contain search terms. What they're saying is you've written something that won't convert well. So somehow that's black hat. Is it Google's job to teach you how to convert? If I wrote content that doesn't connect with my readers, is that Google's job to tell people that isn't correct? Conversion points can't be what is a rule or not a rule. So we're not talking about that. We're talking about the presentation of what I did. That I put something up to show people how the algorithm works. I think that was their bone of contention on that whole thing.
Yeah, and I know the Google claimed that it was just web spam, but in our industry, I have never seen a more academic and insightful and important blog post in the history of all SEO. So it wasn't it I don't think you could classify it as web spam from the SEO industry. It was certainly benign weirdness for the rhinoplasty industry. But
Well, spam is something that takes up space, multitudes of space, and doing the same thing over and over again, doing that thick patty of weird meatness again and again and again. This was a one-off. It was a one thing that existed in this one moment. It's not the definition of spam. So to be hit with a major spam problem, it's kind of a pretty funny penalty to be hit with. What's more fun though is if they hit me with my own penalty. That's the part that I enjoy the most.
And did they limit the penalty to just that page, or did they spread the love around?
Whole site. And then they hit all the test pages that I had, or test sites with the same penalty. So what was fun about that is because I did reconsideration requests on the test sites. And the first thing I said is that this can't be spam because I'm not going after any keywords that anyone is optimizing for or bidding on in AdWords. It is not taking up any space. It can't be spam because nobody cares about the fake keyword that this site is going after. And they didn't like that. I took the whole site down and put up the WordPress template and resubmitted, and it was still hit as pure spam. And then I wrote just a one-pager and said, this can't be spam because as I'm thinking these words, I'm typing them. This has to be the most unique content of all time. And it was still rejected. So what's great about this whole situation is that all of that is just punitive. It was just completely vindictive action by Google. And maybe they thought they were going to limit testing or what we were doing or this whole thing, but I think it only encouraged everyone. I think everyone that heard the story was encouraged. Oh my God, we can figure something out about the algorithm, and we can, we can figure things out, and we can all test things because we can actually find something that's going to piss Google off that we figure out a secret. We figured it out. This is actually attainable. It doesn't get into you can't figure anything out. Well, yeah, we clearly can. We can all do it, and Google doesn't get very happy when you show it other people.
Yeah, you don't push Google's conniption button if it doesn't work at all. Google doesn't care at that point. If
They're so
Google
big.
thinks they're shit, you've done something that works.
They're so big. Why would they care? My favorite thing about the whole thing is I wanna meet the sorry slob that's got a PhD from Stanford that had to spend like 2 or 3 days on me. You know, like his life, that had to be a pretty low moment. You know, where he is, this dude or this chick, whoever they might be, they are the pinnacle of computer engineering, and they got to spend a few days on Kyle Roof, and that makes me really happy. Like that was their PhD degree in a nutshell right there.
Well, Clint, what do you think about the efficacy of SEO testing?
To go, I don't know. I don't want to say as devil's advocate, but what is a test, right? Kyle hit on it earlier. Is you can just change the title tag, and that's a test, and now you can call yourself an SEO tester. So, how do you define test? And for John to say that it doesn't work, that it's pointless, is kind of it's odd to me. Like, what is the intent behind that? Does he not do testing on his own websites that he ranks? Or is he not even ranking websites at all? And if he's not ranking websites and going through the process, then how is he the subject matter expert for webmasters to follow for Google? You know what I mean? So that it raises a lot of questions because, Terry before Terry wasn't doing single variable tests, but he tests stuff all the time. It just because he's not doing quote unquote scientific testing doesn't make him a tester, and all that stuff has value. So for John to say that there's no value in testing, it's just that kind of raises the question to me, is like, is he even doing SEO? And if he's not doing SEO, why is he the person that everyone's asking SEO questions from?
Yeah, I suspect that if you ask them why they have never ranked a plumber in Miami, they'd say because all of us would study it and learn what they know.
Yeah,
they'd have some excuse like that.
Well, at least Matt Cutts had his own blog, so at some he was doing something,
Yeah,
right? What is John Mueller doing? I mean, what is John Mueller doing? Where's the johnmueller.com? I want to see that.
Yep. Yeah, my jaw dropped when I saw what he was doing for SEO on his own blog. I was like, that's black hat as hell. I can't believe they're doing that.
That's how you learn, right?
Well, yeah.
You can't fight it unless you know it is there and what it does. So
Matt Cutts' blog is what initially kicked me in the rear end to start asking the most important question in SEO. If he can do it, why can't I?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's literally the most important question in SEO. And it's not just about, being spammy. It's about getting answers out of Google. If Matt Cutts can do it, why can't I?
Which is probably why we don't see any websites coming out of John Mueller.
Yeah. Yep, probably. So, Terry, what do you think about testing?
As a tester,
you're muted.
Well, as a tester, now I know that we live in this real physical world where obviously testing doesn't work, or we would know about gravity. We would know about, well, I go out, I open my front door in the mornings to test if I need to grab a raincoat because I'm too lazy to go look out the window. But, we test things. So how we learn anything is by testing. And tests we do ourselves then institute the results. Kyle did this test with Lorem Ipsum, but a whole lot of people then said, I need to figure out a way to put that into my SEO work, because obviously my biggest question is never if they can do it, why can't I? Mine is how did they do that and how can I? And you count on people who test for that too, because they look at things from a perspective other than your own. So,
And Lauren, you're kind of the newest member in this panel. So as the newest member and kind of, learning on the fly, what is your impression of testing been? How has it helped or not helped you in your efforts?
Yeah, I for so long just read some of these publications, thought that I took it for truth. And I see now, after testing some of the things that I thought were true, how off base that was. And I'm starting to see as well, like, oh, I can see if this works or doesn't work. And it's been a game changer for me. It changes the way I approach things. It changes the way that I'm able to be effective. I'm so appreciative of this group and the way that you think things through, because I think it's the difference between doing good work or just throwing things out there.
And you're in the IMG testing community now, right? So you're
Yeah.
a tester, you're a convert.
Yeah. And that group is great as well.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out what tests are too old to keep secret, and maybe put some into the public at some point here.
For sure. Yeah.
But with that, we're coming up on 50 minutes, so I think we'll stop. And hopefully next week I'll have a prepared presentation again. This week I just ran short on time because I'm trying to wrap up my low-level link building course. Got the videos done, sending it out for editing. And Kyle, I believe you have a course coming up too.
I do. So I'll be launching a course on white hat SEO, because I am a white hat SEO. Actually,
The original,
people think I'm really black hat, and I think because of the whole Laura Mitchum thing, and I always consider that very white hat. I never really consider that a black hat thing. But in the course, I'm kind of going through what is white hat. So we kind of define it, going through the guidelines. This is, this isn't, kind of looking at different things, and then going through techniques that are, and discussing why they are, and then kind of building a framework around a core set of concepts that you can then create. And then that's what kind of the one part of the course. The other part of the course is actually putting into play. And so we're doing it live, using these techniques and doing them on a brand new site in a very difficult niche. See if they work, and you can see the success and or failure. So you get to watch something fun, or you can watch the NASCAR race with the 20-car pileup. Both are very exciting. Any which way you go is fun to watch. And so I'm not holding anything back, and it's all completely transparent as to what's going on, and you can see it.
Well, people are going to ask in the comments about where can I find the course. It's still early. It's more of a when can you find the course. Do you have a ballpark estimate? Is it going to be Q4 this year? Is it going to be Q1 next year?
No. I think both your course and mine will be launched within 3 weeks. So
awesome.
In time for Black Friday.
So some
Early Black Friday sale. Early Black Friday sale.
So save your money. We have a sale coming.
Yeah, exactly. Tell people how to budget their money through the season. This is something you should spend money on.
I think our courses aren't going to drain people's wallets because of the way we're going to pivot, but I don't want to get into all of it. But you don't have to save too much of your money for our courses. If my
not at all. Yeah. Try to keep it cost effective this go around.
Yep, exactly. So we hear you. We're trying to help you. That's our plan. Any last thoughts, Clint?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Thanks.